30,000 subscribers. I don't even know what to say. I'm not gonna lie. I spent like a good 10 minutes trying to figure out what to say for this intro. I don't know. I just pressed record. Thank you. That's honestly all I can say. Thank you guys so much for supporting me for this past year. Bro, in January, I just hit 1K. And now we tripled my goal, which was 10K for the year. And the year isn't even over yet. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much. I would be nowhere without you. You guys have changed my life so much. You don't even understand. But don't act like I don't know what all of you are here for. What if Naruto was Genos? This idea beat out a bunch of really good ones on the poll, some that I've been saving for months. Like, what if Deku could edit quirks? I've been sitting on that idea for like 5 months at this point. But I'll just save that one for the 100K special, why not? And with that out of the way, Discord link and link to some fire anime merch in the description. And with that said, let's just get right into the what if. So this is the 30K special, so I'm honestly just trying to have fun with this what if. So if it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, deal with it. So we start this what if off on a random day when Naruto was 6 years old. And Naruto, he's in his apartment at this time, you know, he's living on his own. And out of nowhere, this is like the most random thing. A gorilla attacks the apartment where Naruto lives. And this isn't any normal gorilla. It's like half gorilla, half filled with robotics. Like, no one has ever seen this type of technology in the Naruto world. So this gorilla doesn't like aim for Naruto only. It tears down the entire building, killing all the villagers who live there, as well as Naruto. And as news spread about this, Hiruzen and his Anbu team, they arrived on scene and saw this thing attacking other shops surrounding the apartment. And Hiruzen quickly told his Anbu to take care of it, and he rushed down to the rubble, like the remains that were left of the apartment. And he starts sifting through, trying desperately to find Naruto. And when he does, he's already dead. And Hiruzen looked down at him and started crying. He said to himself, "Minato, I failed you. I failed this village. What have I done?" And he lowered his head, and then Hiruzen heard a subtle heartbeat. Naruto was barely alive. The only thing keeping him alive was the Kyuubi. So Hiruzen quickly picked Naruto up, who was missing all 4 of his limbs, and all of his ribs were completely broken. And Hiruzen carried him quickly to the special hospital. This one is only reserved for council members and Hiruzen himself. So he broke through the doors, and the doctors there were shocked but calmed down when they saw that it was Hiruzen. So Hiruzen told the doctors there to do something, just anything, to save Naruto's life. And one doctor came up from like all of the rest of them, like he was ready to work on Naruto. So yes, this is the same doctor that gave Genos his robotic parts, Dr. Kuseno. I'm bringing him in because literally no one in the entire verse can build these complex mechanical parts. Maybe Tenten, but Tenten right now is like 7 years old. And a bit of backstory to Dr. Kuseno. He hails from the land of iron, but due to some of his more advanced creatures, I'm just gonna leave it as that, he was exiled from his own village. So he came to the Leaf, where he started a family. He turned over to a new profession, you know, becoming a doctor. But he never quite left his past like behind him. He still creates things in secret, but you know, nothing too crazy. So Dr. Kuseno is tasked to keep Naruto alive. And his first idea is to put Naruto in sort of a cryo chamber where his body can chill and slow down, prolonging his life. And now for the difficult part is actually creating these bionic parts. Actually, speaking of bionics, is it just me or does anyone here has ever watched Lab Rats? I know it's hella random, but honestly, grew up watching the show. It was pretty cool. So yeah, leave in the comments if you guys have watched that, because honestly, I feel like the only one. So Dr. Kuseno, he starts creating basic parts for Naruto, such as limbs. Like, these are literally nothing advanced, just so Naruto can stand and grasp things. So Naruto comes out of cryo sleep, and after hours of implanting chips and the bionics, everything for Naruto was finally ready. So Dr. Kuseno, he called Hiruzen, and they both watched as Naruto woke up from the anesthetics, and he slowly got up and he looked at his arms, and it was all metal clumped together, and his legs as well. And Naruto's like, "What the hell?" And he passed out. And Hiruzen looked at the doctor, who sighs and says, he'll need a bit of time to get used to his new body. So later, Naruto gets up and the doctor starts to explain everything that happened to Naruto. Like, he explains about the robot that almost killed him. And Dr. Kuseno knows that the Anbu dealt with it, but he told Naruto that it escaped. And this worked just like how Dr. Kuseno thought. Naruto vowed to hunt it down, to kill it. And the doctor says, "In your state, I really doubt it." But this only drives Naruto even more. So for the following weeks, Naruto would get a bunch of upgrades to his arms and legs just so they can be more functional. But as Naruto was getting back on his feet, he would want to train, because right outside of the doctor's office was this massive training ground behind the Hokage's office. So Naruto, he would go out there and train sometimes, and this is where Anbu would go to train. So Naruto, he would have not really friends, but he would know a lot of people in the Anbu just from this. So Naruto, he would start to get upgrades in his bionics for more offensive capabilities, like increasing Naruto's natural speed and just raw power. But the faster Naruto moves, the more his brain would have to process the information. So Dr. Kuseno would have to advance the microchips in Naruto's brain also. So this all would go over the course of 2 years, and Naruto, he would have pretty good bionics, not at the level of Genos yet at the start of the anime, but it's slowly getting there. So after these 2 years, Naruto is finally 8 years old, and he has basically full control of his bionics, so they're like his regular arms and legs. So Dr. Kuseno doesn't have a problem with sending him to the academy. So the next day, Naruto heads to the academy, and when he walks into class, people, as he's walking to his desk also, people are looking at Naruto as if he's weird, but in a good way. All the girls in the class just want to know more about Naruto. He's just different from everyone else. And they want to know why he's so hard. I mean, he's made of metal, of course he's hard. Well, what do you think I was talking about? You dirty dog, get your mind out of the gutter. I don't know what accent that was, but yeah, so Naruto, when he sits down, a bunch of people start crowding around Naruto's desk because they want to get to know Naruto even more. And Sakura is watching all of the old Sasuke fangirls just migrate to Naruto. And she's just mad. They think Naruto is even comparable to Sasuke, but Naruto does look pretty handsome. But she slaps herself in the face saying, "Snap out of it, Sakura. Sasuke is the only one for me." So as the crowd around Naruto's desk gets bigger and bigger, Iruka walks in and he sees all the people surrounding Naruto. And in this, he isn't as kind to Naruto, so he just sternly says to everyone, "Get back to your seats now. And Naruto, don't let me see you doing anything like this ever again, or else." And Naruto's confused, what? Did he wake up on the wrong side of the bed or something? What's his problem? He's just mad for no reason. But Naruto, he just shrugs it off, and Iruka, he starts his lesson right away. But the entire time, Tenten, who got to sit next to Naruto, she's asking a bunch of questions like who did this to him, where are his family, what clan is he from, and Naruto's just getting awkward because he's not answering any of the questions. Tenten just keeps asking them over and over, not giving him any time to answer. So Iruka, he writes down a question on the board, and it says, what does the symbol on Jiraiya's headband mean? Yes, this is a question for you guys to answer in the comments. The past questions have been pretty easy, not gonna lie, but this one, it's either you know it or you don't know it. It's that simple. So yeah, what does the symbol on Jiraiya's headband mean? So already the kids like in the classroom, they're getting bored of this lesson and say, "Iruka sensei, when can we play with all the shuriken and be real ninjas?" And Iruka sighs, looking at the work he needs to give them, but he says, it's the first day, why not? So he says, let's do the physical tests. So now he gets everyone outside and they start the running, like to see how long they can run for, like their stamina. So Iruka has them start running laps around the training ground behind the academy. And the entire class starts running, and on lap 2, people start failing. But by lap 15, Sasuke and Naruto are the only ones remaining. And this just isn't good for Sasuke because Naruto has nearly infinite stamina. So it doesn't matter how long he can go for, pause, but Naruto's gonna win. And just like that, in lap 19, Sasuke collapses and Naruto is left standing. And all the girls started cheering for Naruto, realizing that he isn't just better looking than Sasuke, he's probably stronger. And Sakura is just in the corner plotting against Naruto. Like, how dare he look better than Sasuke? And yeah, I know Sasuke's drip game, it is pretty strong. But Naruto's drip is immaculate. Sasuke honestly doesn't compare. But the class is called by Iruka, who gets all the shuriken and kunai ready. And granted, for this section, Naruto doesn't do too good, since with his basic bionics, accuracy, like throwing kunai and things like that, aren't his strongest suit. He still doesn't have like amazing dexterity. So Sasuke on the other hand, he literally does this every day with Itachi. So Sasuke takes the edge on Naruto for this one. So for the final portion of this entire physical test, Iruka has everyone draw sticks from a cup. And if your stick has the same numbers, then you'll be paired up for the sparring matches. So of course, Naruto and Sasuke do get paired up. They draw the number 5. And Sasuke, he's ready to put Naruto in his place. Well, Naruto, right, he's just chilling at this point, not gonna lie. So everyone lines up outside of the sort of makeshift ring that Iruka made, so if you step out of it, you do lose. So either you can get incapacitated, or Iruka feels like the match should be over, or you can get pushed out of this ring. So Naruto and Sasuke, they both enter the ring, and as soon as Iruka says begin, Sasuke shoots a fireball at Naruto, and this catches everyone off guard. Because how can a 8-year-old do a fireball jutsu? This is almost unheard of. So Naruto, he sees this, he chuckles and says, "Cute." And Naruto, he clenches his fists and the gaps in his metal parts start to glow and heat start radiating off of Naruto's body. And his computers lock onto the fireball and Naruto says, "Target lock." And he opens his palm and like points it towards the fireball. And this beam shoots out, engulfing Sasuke's flame. And Sasuke is confused about what Naruto just did. Is this some sort of fire style jutsu, some like advanced version? But before he could comprehend what just happened, Naruto boosted towards Sasuke, like shooting off, and he flies towards him and kicks Sasuke, sending him flying through the fence, like around the academy and into the streets of the village. It looks like you guys are enjoying the what if so far. Make sure to check out the link in the description for Fandom. It is a dope website where you can find some fire anime merch. Definitely go check them out. They've got Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan, My Hero. You want it, they more than likely have it. So yeah, if you guys are interested in any of that, links to that in the description, and use code Izukage for 5% off. Now back to your regularly scheduled what if. Iruka, he had to get some medical ninjas to come act quickly so Sasuke wouldn't straight up die. And this confirmed it. Naruto fangirls exploded, cheering, and rushed onto the field to celebrate. And Iruka's jaw It's on the ground. He couldn't understand what he just saw. And Hiruzen, who's watching from a distance, he was impressed. You know, he went to Dr. Kuseno after that and said, "I'm guessing you saw the fight as well." And Dr. Kuseno, you know, he nodded, and Hiruzen replied, "Make sure you don't disappoint him," and walks off. And the doctor looked sad, like he had some weight on his shoulders. And after school was over, Naruto, he rushed over to the doctor's lab and gave him a massive hug. He said the bionics worked almost perfectly. "Once I find that damn gorilla, I can finally take him down." And the doctor said, "Hey, don't get too crazy now. That was only one fight." But Naruto wasn't even listening. He was throwing punches in the air, kicking the air like a kid would do. So during his time in the academy, Naruto, he would go through multiple changes, enhancing his speed and raw power output. And on his second year, Naruto wanted an actual challenge. He and Sasuke had a bunch of multiple rematches, but it all ended the same way, with Sasuke badly beaten on the ground. So Naruto, at the end of school, he went to Iruka and said, "Would you mind sparring?" And Iruka, he laughed a bit because Naruto sounded serious. And when he looked at Naruto, he wasn't laughing, so he was like, "Oh, he's actually serious." And Iruka, he agrees. So after school that day, Naruto, who was ready to fight, he had Tenten, Ino, Hinata, and some other filler background characters. They were on the sidelines watching Naruto's fight. And Sasuke, he was watching from the classroom window. So the match started, and Iruka, he didn't want to go too hard on Naruto since he's only a genin, so he made shadow clones, and these were all like those trash shadow clones, the one without a physical form. And Naruto's computers picked up on this instantly, and he picked out the real Iruka. And Naruto said, "If you don't stop playing around, someone might get hurt." And Iruka laughed and said, "I should be saying the same thing." And with that, Naruto blitzed Iruka, kicking him into the ground, and then Naruto stood over him. He opened his palm, charging up a blast and said, "Do you submit?" Iruka started sweating and said, yes, you win, Naruto. Jeez. And Naruto walked off, and the three girls, well, there weren't three of them, but three main characters, they rushed Naruto and they all dogpiled on top of him. And Iruka was sweating and he was thinking he could have just died. But so by Naruto's 4th year in the academy, Naruto, he would start getting really bored. All of this kid stuff he's learning, plus he can't even use chakra. So it's practically useless since he doesn't have a chakra network in his hands because, you know, they were blown off. So Naruto, he would start going on legit missions outside of the village. Since Naruto, he has, he's in contact with a bunch of Anbu, has Dr. Kuseno, so getting an actual mission wouldn't be that hard. And these were C-rank missions, like escort missions, gathering intel and different types of reconnaissance. Nothing too dangerous, but this gave Naruto a lot of experience in what it's like outside the village, going up against actual ninjas. So after a year of this, balancing that with actual schoolwork, like the academy, the graduation exams would finally come around. And this time, these exams are a big deal, almost as big as the 3rd stage of the Chunin exams. In those exams, almost everyone in the entire village comes out. So on this day, villagers are lining up around the academy training ground just so they can watch, these academy students fight. And these exams are done over 2 days. The first day is the written portion, as well as an obstacle course and accuracy training. But let's just skip all of those and go to the more interesting part, day 2, where the students would really show their stuff in front of the entire village. So the pairings will remain the same, and Naruto, he steps up onto the raised stage they have, they made it using Earth style. And Iruka, he didn't even want to watch because this is gonna be bad, because he knows firsthand what Naruto can do. So Sasuke was actually smiling. He has learned a few new jutsu that he he's gonna use to catch Naruto off guard, or so he thinks. So as the match starts, Sasuke shoots off 5 fireballs at once, but Naruto was tracking all 5 of them and jumped really high into the air to avoid it. And he landed, and the crowd was impressed, but they want Sasuke to win no matter what. So some extremists in the crowd start throwing stones and cans just to get Naruto off of his game, but this doesn't bother Naruto in the slightest. Naruto just points his hands behind him and shoots off towards Sasuke. And Sasuke barely dodges this, but Naruto spins around, kicking Sasuke, sending him to the ground. But Sasuke, he endured the pain and rushed back to safety. And Naruto stopped and looked at Sasuke, and he said, "Sasuke, we both know you're not gonna win this." But Sasuke hadn't used his trump card. He closed his eyes and opened them, revealing the One Tomoe Sharingan. And Naruto laughed and said, "You think that will do anything? I can move at light speeds, and my brain can still process everything that happens around me." And Sasuke got up and entered a stance and said, "Let's see how that holds up." And Naruto smirks and disappears from Sasuke's line of sight and appears behind him, kicking Sasuke in the back. And he opens his palm towards him and said, "Incinerate!" And Naruto's hands begin to glow like the sun, but before he shot this at Sasuke, Naruto's arms began to power down. This attack, it would completely deplete the energy that Naruto had, like, because his core, you know how like Genesis core works, if he overuses his powers, like, he can get tired. So Dr. Kuseno implemented a failsafe in Naruto that if he were ever to use something that would deplete all or a lot of his energy, it would just completely stop. Like, his body would want to preserve as much energy as possible. So Naruto, he was mad, but Iruka, he called the match, seeing that Naruto powered down. He saw that as Naruto showing mercy, and considering he doesn't want to see Sasuke die, he announces Naruto the winner. So the villagers were booing at Naruto, and Naruto, he was sick and tired of these people, so he walked to the edge of the platform and said, "If any of you have a problem with me winning, then come up here and fight me." And there was complete silence. So Naruto, he returned to the crowd where like the girls were cheering for Naruto. They were so happy to see him win. And everyone else goes, and after all that is said and done, they return to the academy, and Iruka says that, they'll need to return tomorrow because he needs to, tally up the points, different stuff like that. So at the end of the day, Naruto goes to the doctor and tells him to remove the failsafe. Like, what if he wasn't an actual fighter and needed to go all out? He looked Dr. Kuseno right in the face and said, "Remove it." And the doctor did. So with that, Naruto, he would return to his apartments, and the next day return to the academy, where he would be announced the Rookie of the Year, because Naruto did amazing on everything there. And as Iruka, he announced this, of course Sakura, she stood up. She had something on her mind. She said, "Iruka-sensei, Naruto is not the Rookie of the Year. Sasuke is. He's so much better, stronger, and more handsome than Naruto." And Iruka, he looked at Sakura and said, "Can you please sit back down?" And Sakura, she's like, "No, I will not until Sasuke gets Rookie of the Year." So Iruka, he literally walks up, grabs Sakura, and she's flailing around like, "Get your hands off of me, get your hands off of me." And he throws her outside of the classroom and locks the door. And he says, "Does anyone else have a problem?" And you can just hear the crickets in the background, and he's like, "Good." So he continues on and then starts listing off the teams. He goes through the different teams, like Team 10, who is Choji, Ino, and Shikamaru, and their Jonin leader is Asuma Sensei. Then Team 8, who is Hinata, Kiba, and Shino, and their Jonin Sensei is Kurenai. And of course, the one and only Team 7, who is Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura, and their Jonin Sensei is Kakashi. So as soon as Iruka announces all of this, Team 10 and Team 8, their Jonin senseis come in, like Asuma and Kurenai. They were at the door ready to pick up their teams. But Team 7 would have to wait a long time until Kakashi comes. You know, you might think maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes at most. This guy takes a whole 2 hours to arrive at the academy. When he does, everyone there is so fed up with him at this point, and Kakashi, he immediately starts to think of an excuse like, oh, I was lost on the path of life, but no one was buying it. And Kakashi, he could sense that, so he's like, alright, just meet me on the roof. So everyone gets up to the roof, and Kakashi, he starts telling them that they should do like a bit of introductions. First, say their name and their likes, dislikes, and their goals. But before they go, Sakura, she says, well, Kakashi, why don't you go first? And he's like, you know, no team has ever asked me. Why not? So he says, my name is Kakashi Hatake. My likes are none of your business, my dislikes are none of your business, and my goals are none of your business. And they're like, oh wow, real helpful. So Sakura, she goes first, and literally nothing changes about her. Everything's just about Sasuke. And she dislikes someone, you know, making it, you know, not really, you know, it's really obvious that she's talking about Naruto. So Sasuke, he goes, and again, his sort of stays the same, but he adds that he wants to defeat a certain someone, obviously talking about Naruto. And Naruto goes, you know, he says his names, he likes training, he hates gorillas, especially robotic gorillas. And you're like, what's his problem with robotic gorillas? Like, it's so random. And he says his goal in life is to kill a certain robotic gorilla. And everyone is confused what this dude is even on about. Like, honestly, tell me you wouldn't be weirded out if someone says their goal in life is to kill a robotic gorilla. That just sounds dumb. So Kakashi, he's like, okay, I have a pretty interesting team. Well, to see if you guys are truly worthy to be on my team, we're going to have a test tomorrow, and make sure you don't eat. And Kakashi poofs into a cloud of smoke. So after hearing that, Naruto and the others, they return home. But Naruto, he doesn't really follow the advice of not to eat, bro. He's hungry, so he's gonna eat. So the next day rolls around, and of course Naruto has some ramen before heading out to the training grounds. Naruto, he did wake up a bit late, but he was like, Kakashi, he's always late anyway, so it doesn't matter. So he gets to the training grounds, and of course it's just it's just Sakura and Sasuke there, and Naruto, he just sits by a tree, and they wait for another hour. Naruto was already 3 hours late, so they wait another hour for Kakashi to arrive, and bro, they are so mad at this guy. How are you their sensei and be this late? And Kakashi, he comes up with one of his dumb excuses about, well, you know, a black cat crossed my path, so I had to take the long way around. But whatever, he starts to also explain the bell test, saying that you need to capture one of these bells to remain on the team, and the person who doesn't get a bell will be sent back to the academy. And Sakura, hearing this, she starts saying how unfair it is. They worked hard to get here, and to be sent back just like that, that isn't fair. And Kakashi said, well, one thing you'd realize when you become a ninja, life isn't fair. So while Sakura is arguing, Kakashi attaches the bells to his waistband and he starts the match. Immediately, Sasuke rushes into the forest and Sakura, she just runs behind him. But Naruto, he just stood there looking at Kakashi. And Kakashi was like, oh, we got a cocky one. So Naruto's shoulder boosters fire off and he flies towards Kakashi, who dodges, and he realizes how fast Naruto is, so he doesn't waste any time in pulling up his headband, revealing the 3 Tomoe Sharingan. Naruto tries outspeeding the Sharingan, but at his current speed it's almost impossible. So Naruto, he gets frustrated and slams his hand into the ground and says, I need more speed. and his palm boosters fire off and lightning bolts start sparking off of Naruto's body, and his core is going at its max. Naruto straight up disappears, leaving after images, and kicks Kakashi in the side, sending him flying into the river. Kakashi, he quickly recovers and starts looking around for Naruto, and he did a hand sign for the Chidori, and you might be wondering like why is he going so far to use that jutsu, but Kakashi, he knows Naruto can survive a blow from it since, you know, he's made of metal. So Kakashi, he starts scanning the area, and out of the corner of his eyes, he sees Naruto rushing towards him. And the only reason he's able to is because Naruto can't sustain the speed for very long, so that first hit was the fastest he'll ever go in this fight. So Kakashi, he quickly turns around and the Chidori cuts off Naruto's arm. Now Naruto, he starts to panic and he shoots off a fire-powered blast at Kakashi, who did a hand sign for like a massive water wall. It didn't do much, but it gave Kakashi enough time to escape. So he rushed into the forest to like regain his bearings, but since all of this was going on, Kakashi forgot Sasuke and Sakura were hiding in the bushes behind him. And in one swift motion, they both grabbed the bells, securing the win for Team 7. And Kakashi, he realized way too late. He had like all his attention on the main like enemy, well, not really enemy, but the main like, opponent, Naruto, that he forgot about both of them. So he's like, alright, sure. And he starts to explain that this entire thing was about teamwork, and since they technically did do teamwork, even though it was unintentional, they still pass. And with that, Team 7 is officially Team 7. So Naruto, after them winning, Naruto didn't talk to anyone. He just walked off. He was sad and a bit angry. He went to Dr. Kuseno and slammed his hand onto the operating table, and Naruto said, "I wasn't able to do it. I had the firepower to defeat him, but that damn Sharingan and Chidori." And Dr. Kuseno walked up to Naruto and said, "Worry not. With some new parts, the Sharingan will be the least of your worries." So for the next week, Team 7 does their usual D-rank missions, but without Naruto. And like he does join them, well, like a week later, but Naruto looks a bit different. His mechanical parts are different, and right now, Naruto would have the parts that Genos had when he went up against Speedo Sound Sonic. Dr. Kuseno's plan was to focus on reducing some weight and using lighter material to make Naruto as fast as possible, and this would greatly decrease the amount of firepower he has, but they made, they made a clever solution to this, but we'll get into that later. So Team 7 does another week of D-rank missions, this time with Naruto, and even after just this week, they've been getting bored. So after, doing those D-rank missions, they asked Hiruzen for a higher ranked mission. And Hiruzen actually doesn't have any like qualms with this. He takes zero time in giving them a mission. And they're given a B rank escort mission because with Naruto on the team and Kakashi, Hiruzen, he feels a lot more comfortable. So he gives them the rundown saying that this bridge builder needs to make it to the Land of Waves because they have reason to believe that Gato, he's had a band of mercenaries who's ready to stop Tazuna at all cost. So this, like in this timeline, it would be considered a B rank. So Naruto and the others, they would see Tazuna, and this time Tazuna isn't drunk out of his mind. He's still like, well, what are these damn kids you're giving me to like protect me? They aren't gonna do anything. But eventually Tazuna does agree to having them escort him since, it's Kakashi and this metal looking kid, he seems pretty strong. So he decides to go along with it. So the next day comes around and Team 7, they're carrying some supplies because it's gonna be a pretty long mission. But Naruto, he doesn't have any backpack or anything. He's carrying a briefcase, and like Kakashi asks him why, but Naruto says, just in case I need to use it. And Kakashi's like, okay, alright, whatever. So they start heading out of the village, and not far outside the village, they come across this puddle out in the middle of nowhere. And Kakashi and Naruto are the first to realize that it hasn't rained in literal weeks. So why is there a puddle just randomly in the middle of the road? So as they're walking past it, two demon brothers jump out of the puddle, and Naruto, he was going to react, but he just let Sasuke have this one. So as the brothers were like rushing towards Tazuna, I keep saying Kakashi. Sasuke, he kicks the brother's claw out of the way, one of them, and Kakashi, he comes and deals with the other brother. So it really, these brothers are honestly really weak. Sasuke and Kakashi were enough to take them down. So with those two taken care of, as they were continuing on to the Land of Waves, Kakashi was getting a bit more suspicious. Yeah, this was a B rank mission, and those were like some Chunins. But if those were the type of like ninjas coming after Tazuna, who else is next? They thought it was just like mercenaries, just people with swords, not actual ninjas. So as they continue down the path, it starts to get foggy, and Tazuna, he's like, oh yeah, this is a Land of Waves, it gets foggy around here all the time. So they aren't too worried, but the further they get, the thicker and thicker the fog is, and they can barely see. And as they're walking through, Kakashi, he holds up his hand, and everyone behind him stops, and he can hear something like swinging through the air, and he yells duck, and everyone like dodges down, and the executioner's blade come like swinging over all of them, and it lodges itself into a tree. And Zabuza, he lands on it, and he says, oh, Kakashi the copy ninja. Well, this will be a fun fight. Kakashi, he tells everyone to stay behind him, but when Naruto sees Zabuza, he sees this as an opportunity to use his new parts. So he he walks in front of Kakashi and says, Kakashi, how about you stay back? And Naruto, without even using any of his boosters, he moved quicker than anybody could perceive, and Naruto appeared behind Zabuza. And Haku, who was like watching, ran out of the forest to help Zabuza because this kid isn't normal. Naruto held Zabuza's head and said, I'll give you a chance to turn over a new leaf. But Zabuza elbowed Naruto in the side, but ended up hurting himself since, he's made of metal. And Zabuza asked, what are you? And Naruto says, your worst nightmare. And he starts glowing, and a blast of heat incinerates Zabuza's head. Haku tries to stop Naruto, but in the end, he meets the same fate. And Team 7 and Tazuna, they're watching this ruthless killing of both these ninja. And Naruto walks back over to them, and Kakashi said, you didn't have to kill them. Naruto said to Kakashi, well, it's just like you said, Kakashi-sensei. This world isn't fair. It was them or us. We have a mission to do, so let's do it. And Kakashi, he's getting like some weird vibes from Naruto because this sounds like something he would say when he was in the Anbu, and that's not what Kakashi wants any of his students thinking. So Kakashi, he's like, okay, and they continue on to the Land of Waves. They reach like this dock area where there's a bunch of fishermen, and Tazuna, he recognizes one of them, so like his friend gets them to boat over to the actual Land of Waves. And as they're rowing over, they see just the destroyed buildings, like people out in the streets, how poor these people are, and Team 7, this is a real reality check for all of them because they don't know what life is like for other people outside of the village. So for them to see like these people in this state, it really drives them to, complete this mission. So once they reach the docks, Tazuna, he waves goodbye to his friend and directs everyone to his house. And as soon as they open the door, this smell hits everyone's nose and their mouths start watering instantly like, oh, what is this food? So Tazuna's daughter, she's whipping it up in the kitchen, and she just think of your favorite food. I don't know, like I don't know, just she's cooking whatever you like, and it's hot and ready, and oh my god, it is so good. So everyone sits around the table and they starts getting plate after plate, just eating this food up. And Inari, he's watching these, well, to him, these are randos in his house eating his mother's food, and he starts to get like a bit mad. Like, what do they think they're gonna do against Gato and his mercenaries? Like, his father couldn't do anything about it, so why do these ninjas think they can do anything? So after eating up, Naruto, he helps with cleaning, and they are escorted to a guest room where they can stay the night. So the next day comes around, and Kakashi, he has an entire day of training planned out. He's going to teach his team how to not only water walk, but also tree walk. Wall walking and water walking. So Naruto, he can't do this like straight up because, as I explained, he doesn't have any chakra points in his feet because they're made of metal. So Naruto, he doesn't even need to do this, bro. He can fly, so what's the point anyways? So for the next few days, Naruto is honestly just chilling. And when it comes around to when the bridge is almost finished, like Team 7 there patrolling the bridge, making sure that nobody is trying to bring any harm to Tazuna and any of his workers. So as they're about to finish the bridge, this ship rolls up and it's filled to the brim with mercenaries that are working for Gato. And they all exit onto the bridge, and Gato stands up in front of them, and he starts to explain how like Zabuza and that kid Haku, they were useless anyways. He wasn't even gonna pay them. So Naruto, like Sasuke, he wanted to take care of these guys, and Kakashi, he was ready as well. But Naruto, he's like, you two, back up, hold on, I want to try something. So he stands up out in front of his group and he presses a button on his suitcase, and it splits down the middle, and like both halves start to unfold, revealing arms. It's a prototype weapon Dr. Kuseno was working on. Basically large arms that go over Naruto's regular arm, increasing his firepower exponentially. And Naruto fires it and wipes out the entirety of Gato's army, including Gato himself, in one move. This attack literally only leaves ashes as the remains for these mercenaries. So after this, Tazuna and the others would get back to building the bridge. Yeah, the attack did burn the bridge a little bit, but it wasn't anything that they couldn't fix. And with that, Team 7 has successfully completed their mission. So they would stay for a bit until the bridge is fully completed, and the bridge will still be called the Great Naruto Bridge. So they would return to the Leaf Village, and while Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura, they got to go home and rest, Kakashi, he went to Hiruzen to report on their mission. And he explains everything about how Naruto defeated Zabuza and Haku, and with this new knowledge, he would increase the mission ranking to A rank, meaning even more pay. So Naruto's balling. So we switch perspectives to Naruto real quick, who is at Dr. Kuseno's lab, and Naruto tells him that the arms were a success, but it still needs some tweaking to be perfect. But you know, everything, it's not gonna be perfect. So the following day, Kakashi would call his team in for a short meeting just to tell them something. So when Team 7 gathers on the training ground, Kakashi tells them about the Chunin exams and asks if they would want to take part in it. And this isn't even a question. Of course, they all want to take part in it. So when Kakashi, he left after telling them, you know, after getting their yes, that they want to go into the Chunin exams, Sasuke, he walked up to Naruto, went up into his face and said, "For the entire exams, stay out of my way. I'm not going to win with any of your help." And Naruto, he's like, okay, bro, he doesn't care. He knows he can win easily, but Sasuke on the other hand, well, not really. So, for the week that they have to train, Naruto, he would just get some minor upgrades, mainly to his chips in his brain, you know, his computer systems. While Sasuke, he would be training hard, because he knows that doing this without like Naruto is gonna be hard. So for the like when the week is up, Naruto meets up with his team and they all go to the academy where like they would meet to do the first stage of the Chunin exams. So they walk in and immediately they are like surrounded by this entire crowd of students, and a genjutsu is cast on them, so they see the door as like right in front of them. But Naruto, genjutsus straight up don't work on him because of all of Naruto's robotic parts. It interferes with the genjutsu. Sasuke, he easily breaks out of it, and so does Sakura, so they move on to the actual room. And as they walk in, they see a bunch of genin staring at them. Genin from the land of rain, the land of grass, all these obscure places. But Naruto and them, they just, you know, picked one side of the room to just chill in the corner a bit. So as they're waiting, Ibiki and like his proctors, they come out and they start to explain the first stage of the Chunin exams. It's pretty simple. Basically, they're given a test and they have to complete it. The only thing is they can't cheat, or well, they can't get caught cheating, or they will be sent out of the exams with their teammates. So if one person on the team gets caught, the entire team gets sent out. So everyone, they begin the test and they're given like an hour to complete it. And these questions are hard. Well, for everyone else, but Naruto, he has a straight up computer in his brain, so it is not hard in the slightest for him. But everyone, they have to come up with creative ways of cheating. Like Gaara, he makes an eye out of sand. Other people use the mirrors in the ceiling. Just anything you can think of, they did it. And like Sasuke, he used his Sharingan to copy the arm movements of someone who was writing. So it's honestly pretty creative to see like the creativity in like My Hero, because those people have trash quirks, so they have to keep working around it. And this just reminds me so much of that, like this scene. But yeah, after the hour is up, around 3 teams have like been caught, so they get sent out. And Ibiki, he starts to tell them about the final question. And he says the only thing is, if they get this question wrong, they will be barred from ever taking the Chunin exams again. And just this simple fact made a lot of people drop out, because it's like, why do it now when you could just wait another year to be more prepared? And even if you do it and you fail, you'll never be able to become a Chunin. So that's what they're juggling, and most people see it just easier to just give up and come back next year. So a bunch of these background characters, they walk out with their teams, leaving around like 10 teams left, and these are the original teams from canon who pass on. Pass the first stage. Pass on sounds like they're gonna die or something. So Ibiki, he tells them that they all pass. He was just playing some mind games, and of course some people were rightfully mad, but hey, bro, you pass, so why be mad? So with that, Anko, she jumps through the windows and she's like a drill sergeant. She's like, all right, maggots, make your way over to the Forest of Death. So everyone, they quickly hurry up and go, and we switch over to the Forest of Death. So Anko, she starts explaining all the rules to the second stage, simply saying like the main thing is you're allowed to kill. That's what most people got from her speech. So after they finished, they went to this tent off to the side to get their scroll, and Naruto's team got the Earth Scroll. So they went to their assigned gate and waited about 5 minutes. And then Anko gave the signal and everyone ran into the forest. Naruto, though, he split up from his team because, hey, Sasuke doesn't want his help, so he's not gonna provide him any help. And he gave him his scrolls, so Naruto has to get a Heaven and Earth scroll, which honestly is not going to be a problem. So as Naruto, he's flying through the forest, and as he's doing this, a massive snake slams down onto Naruto, crushing him into the ground. But Naruto, he gets up and dodges another attack from the snake, and he's like, incineration cannons, half power. And he blasts the cannons at this massive snake, incinerating it with just one blast. So as Naruto is standing there, just watching the ashes of the snake just blow away into the wind, he's approached by a team, and this is Team Dosu. But after them seeing what Naruto just did to this massive snake, they're like, yeah, no, we actually have enough sense to realize that we're gonna die at them, and flies off. So Team Dosu, they let out a massive like sigh of relief and just are like, okay, yeah, we're just done with this whole Orochimaru thing. So of course Team Dosu will not be spared, and they're the ones that are going to be used for the sacrifices for the reanimation jutsu, you know, for the Hokages. But you know, we're not there yet. So Naruto has this Earth scroll he got from Team Dosu, and he'll get his Heaven scroll just from some random team he pieces up. It's not even that big of a deal to explain. So for Sakura and Sasuke, what they're up to, it gets the curse mark. It is honestly that simple. So Sakura, she manages to get Sasuke to the mansion, but you know, they don't have any scrolls. So she was just banking on the fact that maybe Naruto made it first to the tower in the Forest of Death, and he's just waiting until he sees Sakura rushing into the building asking for anyone to help. So Naruto, he went and saw that Sasuke, he is has this weird aura coming off of him because you know, of the curse mark. So when they open both of the scrolls, Kakashi does like appear out of it, and he's the one that still seals the curse mark. And after that, the next morning rolls around, and this is when the preliminary exams are going to take place, because Hiruzen, he explains that there are way too many people that pass, so they need to cut down the numbers a lot more. So the preliminary exams are what they're gonna do, and these matches go like they're in the same order. So the first matchups would be Yoroi versus Sasuke, and I'm still mad at Yoroi. This guy has one of the best jutsus, like for early Naruto. Bro, he has chakra absorption. That's like some Kage level technique, and this dude still lost to a kid Sasuke who couldn't use any jutsu. Like, bro, what? So after him losing, it's Sakura and Ino going up next, and of course it's a double knockout, so it's a tie. Then Tenten is defeated by Temari, and finally Naruto versus Kiba, and this fight isn't even close. Naruto, of course, he's not going to use his firepower like his incineration cannons because he doesn't want to straight up kill Kiba. So Naruto, all he does is try to outspeed him and knocks him out in one swift move. So after Naruto's match, he is in the stands watching, and during Lee's fight, he can see a lot of himself in Lee. The determination, the drive, the power, the way he stays hungry, the way he devours. Bro, that song has been stuck in my head for weeks, man. Please help me. But yeah, so as Naruto is watching Lee fight, Gaara's about to like crush both Lee's arm and leg, but Naruto, he jumps in before anyone could even see anything, and he's like, okay, Lee, he loses, just don't take it that far, jeez. So Lee does lose because Naruto interferes, and Gaara moves on to the third stage. So speaking of third stage, Hiruzen would like write up all the results and then put up the matchups for the third stage on screen. Like there's this display that they all can watch, and Naruto sees that he's going to be going up against Neji. So with that, Hiruzen also announces they have a month to train, and with that, everyone, they get dismissed. So I'm not gonna spend too long on this month training period because nothing really happens. They just train, Naruto gets a few minor upgrades. But one thing I should mention is Jiraiya is in the village, and Naruto, he does meet him and they talk from now and then and actually get kind of close because Hiruzen explains like what happened to Naruto, like why he is basically making exams. Everyone is there. Sasuke is actually on time. He still like trains with Kakashi, but he works a lot harder. So Sasuke isn't late because he already learned the Chidori in the time period he was given. So Naruto, his first matchups is against Neji, and this match is completely weighed in Naruto's favor. The crowd is exploding because they want the prodigy Hyuga to win against this damn demon, quote unquote. But actually, some people don't even see Naruto in this light because of his whole metal body thing. Some don't even recognize it's Naruto until the proctor is like, okay, Naruto Uzumaki versus Neji Hyuga. And they're like, Naruto? And they're squinting their eyes like, he's really changed. Huh. That's interesting. So it would be over in literal seconds. Naruto, he doesn't use any of him into the ground. Neji has the audacity to get up again because he wants some more beating, so Naruto kicks him into the arena walls, and this is when the proctor is like, okay, yeah, I don't want to see this kid die, so yeah, Naruto Uzumaki wins. We switch perspectives to Jiraiya as he is watching Naruto's fight, and he's pretty impressed. He said to himself, it seems I can leave the village in good hands, and Jiraiya leaves because his surveillance of the Akatsuki will soon come to an end. So we pick back up in the middle of Sasuke and Gaara's fight. You know, since Sasuke isn't late, their fight is up next. Now, no matter what Sasuke does, he just can't get around Gaara's sand defense, so he decides to use his new jutsu. Sasuke runs up the arena walls to, get some speed, and at the top, he activates his two Tomoe Sharingan and does the hand signs for Chidori. He runs down the side of the wall and rushes towards Gaara, who made a ball of sand around him, but Sasuke, he slams it into this barrier of sand, and the Chidori hit Gaara in his shoulder, and Gaara let out this like blood-curdling scream, and Temari and Kankuro, they start sweating bullets. They have never heard a scream like this coming from Gaara. They've never heard him in so much pain. They looked over to their Jonin sensei, and he looks at them, and they already know what to do. And as Gaara enters his half Shikaku state, they launch the Konoha Crush. And with that, Sasuke chases after Gaara with Temari and Kankuro behind them, and their arena, the entire arena falls under a Genjutsu. Naruto's computers start calculating whether it's worth it to help Hiruzen or Sasuke, and it says Hiruzen first, then Sasuke, after seeing, Kakashi telling some Genin to go help Sasuke so they'll buy him some time. And with that, Naruto rushed to Hiruzen's side as the barrier was put up by the Sound 4, and Orochimaru said, "You may be strong, kid, but how would you fare against the 1st, 2nd, and 4th Hokage?" And their coffins start raising from the ground, and Naruto steps in front of Hiruzen, who says, "What are you doing, Naruto? Leave this to me. Stay back." But Naruto, he slams his hands together and said, "Incineration cannons, max power." And a massive beam shoots off towards Orochimaru, and the heat from the blast starts melting the roof itself. Start melting what they're standing on. And this blast shoots straight through the coffins with the Hokages and through Orochimaru. And like the name suggests, it completely incinerates all of them on contact. Without saying a word to Hiruzen, Naruto started trying to figure out ways to get out of the barrier. And he can't go around it, he can't go over it, so that leaves one more thing, to go under it. Naruto starts breaking through the roof to get under the barrier, and like he thought, it works. And without much resistance, he starts flying towards Sasuke and Gaara. And when he arrives, Sasuke and Sakura are both binded to trees and Gaara was turning into his full Shikaku state. And Naruto just watched as this thing was towering over him. And Jiraiya, who's like on his way back to his like usual routines, you know, surveying the Akatsuki, things like that, he would see the massive tail beast off in the distance. And you know, you thought he would be worried or anything like that. Bro, he's smiling and says, "Seems you have your hand full, Naruto. Good luck." And he continues on. So back with Naruto, he was trying to figure out how to take down this beast, and it just came to him. Naruto, he increased the heat of his blast and shot it at Shikaku's feet. This caused like Shikaku's feet to be covered in glass, and this would hold him in place. So Naruto flew up to the top of his head and ripped Gaara out of it, and the Shikaku just turned into a massive pile of sand. And this marks the end of the Konoha Crush. So Kakashi, Guy, and the other Jonin Sensei, they did a pretty good job at handling the Sand Shinobi all around the village. And with that, it's onto the time skip. So Sasuke still does leave the village after his fight with Gaara, because he's like, bro, I literally couldn't do anything against Gaara, and this man Naruto didn't have to use his strongest technique. Like, how can I compete? And Naruto, he doesn't go after him. If this is how Sasuke wants to gain his power, then go right ahead. And no amount of Sakura's whining wouldn't change his mind. So earlier, you guys would remember I said Jiraiya's surveillance would come to an end. Well, because he's going to disband the Akatsuki by first taking down their leader. So before the end of the time skip, Jiraiya would infiltrate the village hidden in the rain, and considering Pain can sense any and everything within the village, he wasn't really sneaking around, but you know, let's entertain the idea of him being sneaky. So Jiraiya's fight would literally go the same. Jiraiya uses everything at his disposal. Sage mode, he merges with Ma and Pa Toad, but in the end, it all ends the same, with Jiraiya dead at the hands of Pain. Jiraiya does write down the message on the back of Pa Toad before, you know, Pain finishes him off. So that's really all the Leaf Village has to go off of for Jiraiya's death. So while Naruto, he is just chilling in his house, he's called in by an Anbu to Hiruzen's office. And yes, Hiruzen is still remaining the Hokage, but he is going to retire pretty soon. But yeah, Naruto, he goes to Hiruzen's office, and there are a bunch of people in there, and they all look sad. And Hiruzen starts to explain that Jiraiya is dead. And as soon as Naruto hears this, he doesn't know what to do. He just listens as the Toads were there as well, and they start to explain the entire situation. And Naruto, he doesn't know what to think. Just this wave of anger starts washing over Naruto, and he rushes out of Hiruzen's office. But like some of the girls who like Naruto, who from like academy days, like Tenten and Hinata, they all rush out and try to stop Naruto, telling him that they need to come up with a plan to stop the Akatsuki. Naruto can't do anything about it on his own. And Naruto, all he says is, well, I'm not gonna sit here and cry over it. So he pushes them off of him and he goes to Dr. Kuseno, who has the new and improved like suitcase kit. Well, it's been 3 years, so Naruto has improved a lot. So he grabs the case and Dr. Kuseno says, "Where are you going?" And Naruto says, "To finish something I should have a long time ago." So he flies off towards the Hidden Rain village, and Naruto makes it there in literal no time. And he presses the button on the suitcase, unleashing the arms, and they cover his normal arms, making them like 10 times bigger. So Naruto, he starts to put his arm. This blast completely destroys the entire village hidden in the rain. There is just a crater left like a meteor struck the earth. Naruto, he fell out of the sky and landed in the crater because his core was completely drained. Naruto, at this point, he was practically dead. But something that Naruto or Dr. Kuseno didn't even think of was, but enough for Naruto just to not completely black out. So Naruto stays there for hours and hours until a search party from the Leaf is dispatched after Naruto has been gone for a really long time. So they bring him back to the Leaf Village and to Dr. Kuseno's lab, where Naruto, he wakes up and sees the doctor crying. Naruto, he's confused and says, "Are you okay?" The doctor says, "I'm sorry. I did it." And Naruto is still confused and says, "Did what?" The doctor says, "I created the gorilla. I wanted you dead. The family I made in the Leaf was killed that day by the Kyuubi, so I wanted to create a machine to do the dirty work for me. I'm sorry. Please try to forgive me. That was all before I saw you as family, as a son. My actual son would always want me to create bionics to help people, and you were so much like him. Please find it in your heart to forgive." But before the doctor could continue, he felt arms around him. Naruto was hugging him and said, "I've already forgiven you, Father." And that is where I'm gonna be leaving this one off. Yes, plot twist of the century. Dr. Kuseno was the one who made the Mecha Gorilla. I don't know if that's how it's gonna pan out in the actual One Punch Man, but hey, who knows? That would be a pretty sick plot twist though. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the What If. Honestly, I really had fun making this. And just some sneak peek into the behind the scenes of how this What If was made. At around the 40-minute mark, I straight up fell asleep. I was recording and I was like, alright, I'm gonna take a 5-minute break. Bro, I laid down and fell asleep. It's the next day. Bro, I don't even know what to say, but I put a lot of work into this one. So if you guys liked it, and if you like my content in general, consider subscribing. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next What If.
And remember, like and subscribe.